Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Having a good week, I hope. Have you survived? Hoping you survived illegal government theft week. That being taxes. If you're in the in the United States, I am. Yeah. No. It was a rough one here. I've had to fight with crashing websites just to get my shit paid, because I mean, hey, who doesn't love it when the tax-paying website crashes when you need to pay for it, and and if you don't, you'll get arrested for it. Hello there. Hey, how y'all doing? We talk about cannons. I for once love howitzers. Not that kind of cannon, dude. We'll get to that. But yeah, hello everyone. How y'all doing? Getting my rage at the federal government out of the way. Yeah, how y'all doing? I hope you're all having a good week. Or a good week so far, as it is Wednesday, my dudes, as usual. Hi, doing great. That's good to hear. Yeah, so much as I would love to talk about the main topic right away, of the stream, yeah, fucking Gura fucking, graduating, leaving Hololive. I'm not that I blame her, really. Like, it sucks. Listening to her saying it really fucking sucked. Like the sadness in her voice. But I gotta say, with the fact that Cover went public and is now just another BlackRock subsidiary, I really can't blame her. Like, I wouldn't want to, like, I don't blame her or anyone else who's graduated for quitting. Because, I mean, who wants to be part of that? We live in Latin America, and since it's Holy Week, I get 3 days off. Thanks, Catholics. Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. Long live the shark. Long live the shark. Yes, exactly. Listen, as a final closing bit on this topic, listen, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. That's the way I'm looking at it. As much as it hurt, last night to get the news. But okay, what's this? Okay, hey Bo, what other platforms you stream on? Twitch, here on YouTube, and also on Twitter. Those are the 3 platforms I stream on. And the restream bot should be working, so yeah. So depending on no matter which platform you're on, you should be getting the messages from the others. So, you can all, chat with each other and all that. Cover stock dropped 10% after Gura left. I saw that. Big fucking oof on their part. I'm Catholic. Yeah, I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic, baptized Catholic, the whole 9 yards. It's funny to me that so many people say he claims he's Catholic, because I've seen certain people who will remain anonymous say that he claims he's Catholic. It's like, yeah, it's because I'm fucking Catholic. It's like, how is that? Like, I certainly swear like a Catholic. I mean, come on. Apparently it's because I'm not straight means it means I'm lying about being Catholic. It's like, sorry, but. I'm sorry, but the fact I'm gay does not get between me and my relationship with God. It's like, if you think it does, well, that's a personal issue. To quote a great man, I will confess to God when I meet him, not to you. You're raised Catholic but no longer practitioner. I get that. I had a period in my life where I lapsed super hard. I'll fully admit that. Also, apparently Twitter is removing current DMs for another DM system. Yeah, it's gonna be more like a chat system. I get the feeling they might be doing it so they can facilitate group chats. It might be neat. I'm not going to be all doom and gloom about it until I see how it works. That's generally how I think it works. Like, remember everyone on Twitter got really butthurt when likes went away, but I was like, as funny as it was to dunk on people for being hypocrites about what they like on Twitter, it was ultimately better for the site, because when they did that, people were less afraid to like things, and engagement improved. here in Latin America, Catholics don't care if you're gay. I mean, yeah, I came out to my family. I was raised by my grandparents. Came out to them, in like early high school. They didn't care. Like, they never gave a shit. They were just like, oh, hey, who cares? Still a grandson, Now, like American Protestants might have a problem because they're American Protestants, but I mean, Protestants are cringe. So, I mean, like I'm not saying you can't watch a stream if you're a Protestant. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, I'm fully on board with Alexander Anderson on that topic. But let's see. Yeah. Enough beating around the bush. Right, the topic of today. So what kind of inspired me to want to talk about this is essentially when I got into it with Gundam Twitter, because apparently saying to Sunrise, if you're going to write a pair of characters as gay, fucking write it and don't beat around the bush and then say in interviews, oh, well, actually, because that's not how canon works. You can't go back and say in an interview that, something was like, oh, this was canon the whole time. It's like, but you didn't write it. You didn't write it into the story. How are we supposed to see it as canon? And it's like, I've got a point for doing it. Gundam Reddit got mad at me saying, oh, he's just mad Soletta Mercury wouldn't fuck him. It's like, I legit could not give a shit, less of a shit. I don't think animated characters are real. But more to the point, we're gonna switch over to here. And okay, so this has been a big fucking problem, I think, with writing in the West for a long time now. And I really blame this incident in 2007 where J.K. Rowling just came out and said Dumbledore is gay in an interview. Like, and everyone was just like, oh, that's canon now. That's canon. He was always gay. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. She never wrote it into the books. Like, and this was kind of a whole thing with Rowling, Speaking of gay lesbian relationships, they were a thing in Iron Blood Orphans. I mean, yeah, look, people trying to say Witcher Mercury is somehow important and groundbreaking for that are delusional, because there have been gay characters in Gundam before. But anyway, that's not the point here. That's not the point. So here's the thing, right? Like J.K. Rowling was kind of famous for this, how she spent literal, like for years, she used Twitter as her de facto dumping ground for, air quotes, new canon about Harry Potter. Like, does anybody else remember this era? Like, saying, like, Voldemort's snake was actually a Korean woman who got turned into a snake, or, stuff like that. It was to the point where people were making screenshots of fake J.K. Rowling statements about Harry Potter having new canon that, people couldn't tell the real ones from the fake ones anymore. And then like the spell disappear me poopum, where it was a fake screen cap of J.K. Rowling saying that they don't have toilets at Hogwarts, and they use the disappear me poopum spell to teleport poop out of Hogwarts. It's like, yeah, it's like, I firmly believe, I firmly believe that J.K. Rowling single-handedly ruined discourse on how canon works. Because everyone was just so willing to buy the idea that you could go back into a story and just change things whenever you want, however you want. And now nobody wants to actually talk about how canon actually works. Because this right here, this is an article I dug around Google for the original quote from Rowling, and this is basically the best I could find. That it was at an interview in New York's Carnegie Hall. That was where she that was where she made the statement. It's like, okay, but you didn't write it in the book. It's like, okay. I'm just going to read off this real quick here. And to surprise new plot twist, author J.K. Rowling outed Dumbledore at New York's Carnegie Hall in front of 2,000 Potter fans during a question and answer session Friday night. After reading an excerpt from the 7th installment of her series, Deathly Hallows, one young fan asked if Dumbledore had ever loved anyone. Dumbledore is gay, actually replied Rowling. And with that, Western discourse on canon was ruined. Because she didn't write that in the book, so it can't be canon. So we're going to now... So with that out of the way, we're going to go over to the main point here. See, today I spent over 1,000 hours in MS Paint because I figured this would be a nice, easy format for most people who... When I say most people, I mean like the kind of like woke weirdos who really don't want to talk about the nature of canon and storytelling. This is for them. This is meant to be on their intellectual level. So we're going to give this a quick once over here. How to make canon. This is how you make canon in a story. You write a story. You publish the story. You now have canon. How not to make canon. You write a story, publish a story, and then in interviews, articles, and social media posts, you change the story after the publication. This, at the bottom, with interviews, articles, and social media posts, that's not canon. That is never canon. That is not how canon works. You cannot dictate canon outside of publication. Head canon and sisters when they get hit by a 120mm smoothbore shell. Yeah. It's... Oh, believe me, we're going to go into the concept of head canon and how that's how a communist subversion thing. But more to the point, these are the golden rules of making canon. You can only make canon if you officially publish a story. Articles and everything don't change that. You cannot change canon with articles. Now, let's say you want to change... Oh, what's this? It makes you wonder how much they respected the material they wrote to begin with. Exactly. It's like... Now, suppose you say you want to change canon. Here's how you change canon. Let's say, okay, you write a story. You publish a story. You now have published canon. Now let's say you want to change the canon. You write a new story. You publish the new story. There you go. Your canon has now been changed. You have either added to the canon, gone back and changed previous canon, or, you've just in general expanded upon and elaborated upon canon. That is the only way you can change canon. Now there are some corollaries to this. Lore and story informative published side material is an exception. Interviews, articles, and social media are not lore or story informative publications. So, like, say, something like, say, The Ultimate Guide to Warhammer 40k, while not in and of itself is a story, exists purely to elaborate upon stories, characters, and other parts of Warhammer canon. So that is canon. As another example from Warhammer, the Index Astartes articles are canon elaboration specifically meant to, tell about the lore and elaborate on the lore of Warhammer 40k, specifically Space Marine chapters. So those are canon. But say an interview, like say, okay, like let's keep the Index Astartes thing going. In Index Astartes, Blood Ravens, the one from 8th edition, where they heavily hinted at the idea that the Blood Ravens are descendants of Magnus the Red, that is canon. It doesn't say it outright, but it hints at it heavily. Now, Aaron Dembski-Bowden, in a Reddit post, angrily telling a Warhammer 40k fan, the Blood Ravens are not descendants of the Thousand Sons because I said so, shut up, is not canon. Because that is an interview, article, or social media post. You cannot dictate canon that way. Now, on top of that, all new published story must work with the rules and lore of a setting as established. If not, it's not canon. You cannot wholesale change the fundamental workings of a system that forms a story and the lore of that story in a way that is irreconcilable with what came before. We're going to get into a fine example of this later, but generally what this means, if a character, for example, breathes oxygen in book 1, and then all of a sudden in the next book breathes argon gas inexplicably, that is not canon, no matter how much you try to insist it is, and will never be canon, because you have not explained how that changed or why that changed. Now, you can change canon, but you can't have no canon. If you publish something, you've made canon. This one goes out to the the Gav Thorpes, the Aaron Dembski Bowdens, I forget there was a third guy trying to say 40k has no canon. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It is not up to you. If you publish a story, you have published canon. It is not up to you. Hell, it's not even up to the company, really. If you are publishing something, it's canon. What can only be determined is how badly that canon clashes with what came before. See the previous corollary. Now, the last bit, and this is the sole exception to whether you can decide the canonicity of a publication, is that the following tiers of accepted canon may apply. They have the good examples being Star Wars and Universal Century Gundam. They have tiers of canon. What overrides what? Like for Star Wars, movies overrode everything else. The EU overrode everything below that. Games, video games, comics, etc. was the bottom rung. Or in Universal Century Gundam, Sunrise's golden rule is that if it's animated, it's canon. And that's the long and short of it. If it's animated, it is canon. But again, if you are publishing something, you are still publishing canon with, its ability to exist, determined by whether it clashes with what's been established. If it falls into a tier of acceptance with canon, that's one thing. But if you don't have a system like that in your setting or in your franchise, then if it clashes too hard and can't be reconciled, it's not canon. At this point, do you think Matt Ward had a better respect for the lore than ADB? Like, unironically, I think Matt Ward respected the lore better than ADB does. Because, ADB tries to publish shit that's straight up not canon. Like, Iskander Kaon beating Magnus the Red in a fight and having a Drukari girlfriend who lives with him in the warp. Like, no, that ain't happening. Like, ever. The Dark Eldar do not like chaos, and they can't live in the Eye of Terror. They can't live in the warp. It is a death sentence. But of course, if we're gonna bring up this topic, we have to bring up. I believe I have this next. Oh no, I have this. Okay. Like, real talk. Disney Star Wars is so bad about this because something to keep in mind. What's this? Remember, he totally beat his Primarch. Yeah, I just said that, EA. He totally beat Magnus in a fight, you guys. Speaking of Gundam lore, Sunrise, please animate AOZ so we can canonize all the MS Mobile Suit Development autismo that went on before the Mark II. What's AOZ, real quick? I got you real quick. What's AOZ? I'm not following you on that one. Yeah, well, but while he's typing that, so yeah, Disney Star Wars. We need to have a bit of a talk about Disney Star Wars real quick. How much Advance of Zeta? Oh, okay, gotcha. But how much of a goddamn mess Disney Star Wars is? Because seriously, because like this is unironically the post that sums up Disney Star Wars best. The Star Wars holocron saying the following: did you know the Sith Eternal Fleet seen in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker was created by Sith cultists on Exegol who indoctrinated Exegol's population with Sith values and raised and trained their children to become officers, mechanics, and soldiers for the Final Order? To which Elijah Wood, of all people, said, no, how could we have known? I mean, that really does sum it up, doesn't it? Disney Star Wars is rife with this problem. Like, so much of the sequel trilogy, so much lore of the sequel trilogy was posted as social media posts and interviews, rather than in the movie itself. Like, there's so much you don't know with what Disney intended if they put it in the fucking if you would just watch the movies, because it's all on social media and magazines, and it's like, that's not how canon works. Like, it's so clear it's so indicative of the kind of writing where the creator has no plan, where they've decided, because like, again, and J.K. Rowling seriously ruined how people think canon works, because Disney just straight up thought they could just go onto fucking Twitter or Facebook or fucking Entertainment Weekly or something and just, oh, here's what the canon is that you didn't see. And it's like, no, that's not how that works, okay? You can't just say, oh, you see, actually, Rey had like a 12-foot penis that was also a lightsaber in a fucking interview, and then expect that to be canon. Like, you can't communicate canon that way, because there's so many people who don't read Entertainment Tonight, or, for example, or are going to read the Star Wars holocron, or are going to read whatever your social media of choice you're publishing canon on. That's why you can't do that. If you have to establish canon, you have to establish it when you're writing the story before you publish it. White Dwarf is also Magda lore snippets in there. I mean, yes, but you see, EA, the point is, when White Dwarf releases an article about lore, that is a publication specifically intended to be part of the lore and to add on to it. Because again, and I'm going to go back to the image, and I covered this in the previous image. Lore and story informative published side material is an exception, as in something that is specifically published to be part of the story. Like, again, like a part of the story, versus the writer sitting down and just telling a guy, oh, hey, this is what was supposed to be happening. I just didn't say it at the time. So yeah, that is the difference. That is the difference between, say, that is the difference between, say, Dumbledore just never elaborated on his relationships as a person, and, oh, actually, Dumbledore was gay. I just never told anyone because I decided not to write it in the story for some reason, but I'm telling you now, it's totally just as good as actual, canon, to which it's not. This was like the whole Soletta Mercury argument got me on this, because the people insisting that because, like, the writer or something, published published a thing saying, published a statement in a Blu-ray release saying, oh, Soletta's gay with the other girl, you guys. We just never wrote it into the story. It's like, okay, you had 26 episodes to get that across, but you didn't. So it's not canon. Like, and my whole point with that is like, okay, I don't give a shit if she's straight or gay. I give a shit about the fact you were a bunch of cowards and didn't commit. and now it's too late for you to go back. You can't say Soletta Mercury and her is married to that woman and a lesbian because you never said it. You never said it in the story. So it's not canon. And your interview is not good enough. You have to actually write it into the story. Maybe if you do a follow-up movie or something, I doubt Witch from Mercury would ever get a follow-up movie because it flopped. But if you ever do a follow-up movie, that's your chance. Put it in there. And I know, you know what? I'd actually kind of commend you to sticking to your guns, you know? But that's not how it works. Just like how Dumbledore ain't gay because J.K. Rowling never put it in the book. Bridget is still a femboy because Daisuke never put it in Guilty Gear Strive. He said it afterward in an interview. It's like, this is like writing 101 on how you create a story and maintain a story. You don't get to say after the fact, talking to some guy or on Twitter, oh, actually, insert character is X story actually resolved with. You don't do that. That's not how it works. Like, no good story actually does that. And it's that simple. Like, it is very simple shit we're talking here. Like, this is very basic writing. And it really displays who was actually paying attention when they were getting taught how to write or not. Gundam Wing, as much as you hate it, they have the balls to make... Actually, no, Trowa and Catra were not gay. That was pure yaoi bait. They were never confirmed as gay, and in fact, I want to say in later manga follow-ups and stuff, Trowa got with the girl from the circus. Those two were never gay. At least, you know, I've never seen anything in a secondary publication like the follow-up mangas that ever confirmed it, or any of the backstory mangas. But that said, yeah, if they came out and said they were, hey, you know what? More power to them. I'm not gonna disagree. That's the story. But you have to say it in the story. You can't say it in an interview. Yeah, EA, because there was Endless Waltz, which was the OVA, which also had a movie cut. I kind of prefer the movie cut myself. But there were also prequel and sequel mangas. Like, there's a whole sequel manga where they go to Mars. You never followed up on anything from Frozen Teardrop? I don't really remember the plot of Frozen Teardrop. I'd have to go back and read about that to find out if that's true or not. Because again, it's been a long-ass time for me with Gundam Wing. I might just be misremembering. But as far as I remember, no canon published material established Trowa and Catra as gay. I mean, they certainly acted gay, don't get me wrong, but that's not really good enough for writing. If you want to have that kind of thing, you have to establish it. Like, Final Fantasy 16 established that the guy who's the vessel of Bahamut in the story is gay. It's like they didn't make a big deal of it, but they established it. And you know what? That was good enough. Going back to the Witch from Mercury thing, if you're writing a 26 episode long anime and your entire intent is to make the main character a lesbian who marries a woman, then you have to establish that and not just like be, you know, like wishy-washy about it and then come out in an interview and say, oh, actually they were lesbians. It's like, no, you actually have to write it. That's how that works. That's not, you know, that's not interpretive. You have to put it in the text deliberately and openly, or you can't characterize with pure interpretation. You have to characterize with the text. Were Trowa and Catherine sisters? Catherine said she was Trowa's sister when he was going through his Has Amnesia arc, but you know that eventually wore off, and he came to realize she wasn't. Like, she just wanted to protect Trowa and give him somewhere to live. They folded when the Chinese said no to Yuri. Listen, I don't really believe that at all. I'm going to be honest. I think the writers were just cowards. Like, I think you're giving way too much credit to writers who didn't want to commit to what they wanted to write. Like, it's clearly they wanted you to believe that, but I don't believe the whole, oh, China said no, because, I mean, when has Japan ever given a fuck about China? Like, honestly, I just think the writers from Witch from Mercury were weak writers. Like, that's really what it boils down to. They were weak writers who couldn't commit to what they wanted, so they just didn't write it, and were like, we'll just let people figure it out. And it's like, well, you fucked yourself, Chief. They're not gay. Like, it's really that simple. And like I said, I'll establish this because I know people are going to take this stream out of context if I don't. You can, if you do a follow-up to Witch from Mercury, that's your time to establish it as canon. And guess what? I wouldn't even mind. I kind of want you to commit, honestly. I want you to actually do something to establish it rather than be a bunch of cowards about writing gay characters and leave it open to interpretation, air quotes. Actually fucking commit, you know? Actually commit. That makes you a good writer. Going in an interview and saying, oh, well, actually, I meant it makes you a shit writer. But of course, if we're going to talk about, establishing canon, establishing canon through interviews and social media and how it doesn't work, I'm going to bring up the mother of them all. I'm just going to let that soak for a bit, okay, guys? Seeing how the Chinese attacked Bo because he said G-Witch lesbians aren't canon. I don't believe in China's censorship conspiracy. Yeah, exactly. Japan doesn't give a flying fuck about China. The whole Chinese censorship thing is just a cope for the fact the writers didn't write it in. Oh yeah, no, yeah, actually today, EA, I just realized that this is a fortuitous day to bring this up. This is the anniversary. This is the anniversary of the tweet that killed Warhammer. Or almost killed Warhammer. I won't say it did. I mean, it's pretty clear now, at least to me, at least as far as I'm concerned, Games Workshop is walking this shit back because, like, let's be real, the latest establishing canon story of the Custodes and who can be a Custodes is the Ultimate Guide, which falls under a canon establishing story publication, and thus it is about the story, even if it is not telling a story about the story. It is meant to establish facts about the story and characters and such, and therefore the Ultimate Guide is canon. So yeah, him upon his investiture. This is not canon. And this could never be canon because, again, going back, all published story must work with the rules and lore of a setting as established. If not, it is not canon. I believe it was here. Yeah. So, let's see. Since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodes. Well, let's see. The established canon says that only the firstborn sons of Terran nobles are chosen to be custodes. So, women are not chosen ever to be custodes. In decades of published material about the custodes, there has never been a female custode ever. Now you can cope and see but the tithes. Okay. The tithes falls under the same problem as this here post, and falls under the same problem the Codex did. The idea that there can be women in the Custodes is so irreconcilable with established canon that it's not canon, because it's like trying to shove a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work. There's nowhere to fit it in. It is not going to work as canon because it is antithetical to everything that came before in such a degree as to be completely and inherently incompatible. So no, since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have never been female custodians because you have nowhere to fit them in. And yeah, and listen, I'm just going to be honest, I still stick with my theory that the tithes was the mistake that caused it all because the animators they farmed it out to made the custodian character female on accident, and GW just tried to pull an emergency fix by rewriting parts of the codex. So yeah. That's my personal schizo theory. I'm sticking to it, and I'm sticking to it because there is no way to reconcile the decision to suddenly add female custodes, even with GW in their general, incompetence with their own 40k lore. All right, everyone, hold up. I'll be right back. I need to. My throat's getting dry. I need to. I'll just let this soak for a minute, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Again, I had to wet my whistle because, dog man, talking's driving me out. No, I heard it was post endless waltz where Catherine learns Tro was actually her brother. Again, okay, going over chat now. CJV. I'd have to go over the Gundam Wing side material. It has been literal decades since I read it. It has been like literal decades since I read it. So I don't remember. I don't remember if it was, but all the same, if it was, I'll take that back. So, but again, nothing I remember reading established that Troa and Catra were a couple or gay at all. But again, it's been years since I read the side material. I have to go back and do that. Fucking Games Workshop. I mean, at the end of look, Mega Man. At the end of the day, they're pretty firmly committing to the fact that female custodes aren't canon, unless they do something to fuck it up. Going into the near future. Like, genuinely speaking, if there's going to be that moment where they finally put their foot down and publish something that tries to canonize it outside of a shitty animated show no one watched, it's probably going to be the Silent King novel later this year. I think that comes out in July. That's my bet. When they're going to do it. Personally, the Silent King has been taking so long to release. I'm starting to wonder if they've sent it back to the writing room or sent it back to Guy Haley to rewrite it, parts of it, because it's taken way too long to publish for a novel that was announced as long ago as it was. I think they're actually rewriting things, and that does make me a little nervous because I don't know which direction they'd be rewriting it. But I would not be surprised if it's taken till July to release, because they're rewriting it and either want to remove female custodes or add them in. I don't know which. But personally, I think if it's going to happen, it's going to happen there. But I will say, I think Games Workshop has been feeling the heat from this absolute fuck up enough that I think there's actually a good chance, if it is going in for rewrites, that it would be to remove female custodes beyond a shadow of a doubt. Remember, like I said, that book will be the confirmation. That is one way or another. That's firmly what I believe. There's no canon. All ultra expensive codices you bought are just utter trash. Top tier big brain marketing strategy be over at Nottingham. Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing, Siren. What was it? Gav Thorpe, ADB, and there was a third guy, I can never remember his name, were the ones who said 40k has no canon, and like I was saying before, it literally doesn't matter because it's not up to them. If you publish something, it's canon. The only thing you can really do is try to manage that canon in a way that makes sense. When you fail to do so, you basically have published something that's not canon, unless you can reconcile it with what came before. That's why the female custodes thing doesn't work. As a custodes main, it gets really, it really undermined my sisters. The sisters are cool, and in tabletop have killed Marines with ease. Yeah, I love Sisters of Silence. They're cool. Like, I remember everyone was excited for the Tithes episode 2 because when they first talked about it, it was about a Sister of Silence, and then they revealed, oh hey, female custo, and everyone was like, God damn it, you ruined it. But I'll stick with my schizo theory that the female custodian was supposed to be a guy, but the people they farmed the animation out to fucked up and made him a her, and they tried to compensate with it, and that's why we got female custodians in 10th edition. Speaking of having the courage of making gay characters, you know that the main sister in the Watchers of the Throne saga says she's a lesbian? Oh, she does. She does. Huh. I don't remember that. I was thinking of rereading those books anyway, because they're fucking good books. I mean, if she does, then hey. Yeah, that's how it is, man. It's like I said before, I'm not mad that there are gay characters. I'm mad at authors who are such chicken shits they can't commit to what they clearly want to write and then expect to establish canon after the fact. Or just bad writers who don't know how to world build, you know, looking at Star Wars or whoever did this abomination on screen right now. Back when I was still in game dev, one of my team leads told how they tried to pitch an action game about the Sisters of Battle, but they got denied the license. And that was during a time when a bunch of really bad Warhammer games were in development. It's kind of funny. Well, I mean, they eventually would release a Sister of Battle game. Remember that. It's just they release it on a fucking, you know, VR meme console instead of actual, you know, an actual console or PC. Because, you know, that's, you know, man, nobody sucks more at this than Games Workshop. But I mean, yeah, just all the same. It's like, I just want writing to kind of go back to a time when, you know, authors actually use their skill at the craft to establish canon and to establish, you know, story beats and facts about characters, you know, all that stuff. Rather than going on Twitter and being all like, oh, hey, here's what I actually meant when I was, you know, writing this character and what they actually are, or, you know, all this. It's like, it's so indicative of how the West has fallen off. And you know, seeing, you know, Asian writers do it is really kind of unfortunate because, you know, it's like, why don't you actually be a good writer and commit it into your story like you're supposed to as a writer? Oh, he wants a Ficio Assassinorium game like Dishonored. That'd be cool. But, still, the phone, shut the fuck up. Nobody asked. Hold on. There we go. Muted my phone. But, yeah. I still think it's funny that this happened, that today is the anniversary of this, just because, you know, legitimately, I think the shining example of how the West just doesn't understand how to make canon anymore. This is the example. This is the one that's going to be brought up in, like, that should be brought up in textbooks about writing. Hey, hipster. Yeah, exactly. It's been a year since female custodes now. Like, since that bullshit, you know, happened. I'm trying... man, I'm trying to remember when the Tithes episode 2 was, got, talked about with having a non-canon female custodes in it. Like, I'm trying to remember when that was talked about, because, what was that, like, July that year? August? I really don't remember. It's been a while. Hold on, I want to check something real quick. Yeah, one moment, everyone. Okay. Apologies. I was keeping an eye on the Astartes Overhaul mod Discord server, because the update to the mod, which I'm going to be playing on Thursday with CDAT and Ash, is supposed to be out soon-ish. Tithes was a mistake. The absolutely banger music. Thanks, I love Gustav Mahler. They used his music for Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's my favorite anime. But let's see. Tithes was a mistake in the ammo episode. Oh, don't get me started on that ammo episode. You want to talk about things that can't be reconciled with canon. Like the fucking... Like saying the Imperial tithes ammunition from active battlefields and people fighting in those battlefields. That is such bullshit. That is like, no, it doesn't work that way. Battlefields don't get tithed. Like planets with production, value planets and what they produce get tithed. Whether it's ammo, food, and of course, personnel for the different things like, the Astra Militarum, psychers, that kind of stuff. But they don't tithe active fucking battlefields. That was such bullshit. Like, holy fuck, dude. Who in their... I really want to know who wrote the tithes, because at this point, I don't think Games Workshop even wrote it. Like, I know for a fact they didn't animate it, but I don't think they wrote it either. Like, that is like such a gross misunderstanding of the lore. Like, again, to the point that the Tithes episode 3 isn't canon either. Like, it's not just, like, it's not just the female custodes thing because, I personally dislike it. I mean, I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't like female custodes. They're fucking stupid. But it has nothing to do with personal dislike. The fact they're not canon is objective. It's beyond my right to opinion. Because what constitutes canon isn't opinion or not. Like, my opinion on whether I like something being canon is utterly irrelevant. How canon works, though, is objective. And how you can make canon is objective. So yeah, the Tithes episode 3 isn't canon either, because that's not how the Imperial Tithe works. And there's no situation where a tithe collecting ship is going to be sent to an active fucking war zone to collect a tithe, because guess what? The material on that ship ain't the only materials it's carrying. It's carrying other stuff for other worlds, and they can't risk sending that into a fucking battlefield. Because, hey, guess what happens when your ship full of supplies gets blown the fuck up by the orcs in orbit over the world? You just lost potentially an entire world's worth of material to the tithe. Of the tithe to the enemy. Like, there's, yeah, the Imperial bureaucracy is a fucking mess. But it's not going to do something like that, because that just, even in terms of how the Imperium's bureaucracy is a mess, it makes no sense. Oh yeah, lining up the timeline, it's likely Games Workshop had already sold the rights for the VR game, which is probably why they got denied for their shooter or survival horror set during the Plague Wars. Yeah, I mean, probably. They probably didn't want to... They probably didn't want two extremely similar games coming out at the same time, That also explains why it took so long for them to put the why it took them so long to give Creative Assembly the green light for what do you call it? Total War 40K, which has basically been more or less confirmed to be in production. Peak Space Marine 2 update over the fact that I can change the colors of my Bulwark's clothes. Yeah, I saw about that. But, yeah, it's like man, oh, by the way, have y'all seen a familiar topic got brought up on Twitter recently? Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Have you seen this? Total War 40K soon. Unironically, it's been all but confirmed. But yeah, have you all seen this article? Let me zoom in here. Let's read this. Okay, so where have you heard this one before? American Psycho director Mary Harron is baffled by Wall Street bros, air quotes, there's your nebulous far right group of the day. Still idolizing Patrick Bateman, the movie is, air quotes, a gay man's satire on masculinity. Can I send you a link in Discord? I'm going to be going over reactions to this, because I was only going to go over Canon itself, but then this came up, and I realized, oh, hey, guess what? This also ties into the Canon discussion. But anyway, that was not our intention. So did we fail? I'm not sure why it happened, because Christian Bale's very clearly making fun of them, but people read the Bible and decide that they should go and kill a lot of people. People read The Catcher in the Rye and decide to shoot the president. That's Patrick. There's Patrick being handsome and wearing good suits and having money and power, but at the same time, he's played as somebody dorky and ridiculous. When he's in a nightclub and he's trying to speak to somebody about hip-hop, it's so embarrassing when he's trying to be cool. So, yeah, we're back in this old chestnut. The actually it's making fun of you situation. Which, you know, I brought up the classic answer in reply. 1, botted likes, because I guarantee you, this post did not hit 101,000 likes organically. 2, lefties can't make satire, thus the meaning is up to the viewer. And that's really what it boils down to. I mean, what is the last, because the left can't make satire because the left, I know, operates under the idea that basic truths are ridiculous. So when they make satire, all they do is try to make fun of you for adhering to a basic truth. And you can't do that. Because you cannot get normal people to accept a ridiculous concept. And trying to go against, you know, normal concepts is inherently ridiculous. But now, Bohemond, you incredibly handsome space crusader who's right all the time, except this particular time. Isn't that Death of the Author you're saying? I thought you hated Death of the Author. Because I thought the author's intention means everything. Well, funny you bring that up. Death of the Author is bullshit. I mean, in their eyes, they can. I mean, look, it's like the old saying goes, EA, what is it? I think it was Harrison Ford said to George Lucas, you know, George, you can write this shit, but you can't say it. They can write it all they want, but yeah, there's something to be noticed. There's something to be talked about here. If they can convince you absurdities, they can convince you to commit atrocities. Yes, exactly. But see, here's the thing. Death of the Author is bullshit. So, what do I mean by this? Well, let's go over what Death of the Author is. Here's how communists think things work, because they think Death of the Author is how things are. They think it is a matter of authorial intent, and the text is written don't matter. Oh, hold on, there's an ad right now. I'm going to pause talking about this for exactly, why is that ad lasting an at 2? Why am I getting a 3-minute ad? What the fuck? I set ads to be 30 seconds long because I want them to be short so people don't like get a 3-minute fucking ad in their face. What the hell? Twitch, why do you do? Why you like this? Why Twitch, why the fuck are you like this? Hold on. Yeah, I want to know Twitch chat. Hold on. I just want Twitch chat to know that, you know, I didn't set it. I have to go back into my fucking ad settings on Twitch. Could Twitch just like not be like this, please? It's such a fucking, like, small thing. I set my ads to 30 seconds. Don't play 3-minute ads. Like, come on now. Ugh. Yeah, I'm sorry for the people who can actually, like, you know, who aren't getting hit by an ad on Twitch. I am really sorry that we had to pause the discussion because Twitch fucked up. It's just more and more incentive for me to stop streaming on Twitch. I'm gonna be honest, ever since I started streaming on fucking YouTube, it's not my fault. I mean, look, it's not, but I mean, but it also kind of is. Just it kind of is in a sense, though, because I mean, it's my stream, and even if Twitch resets something on me, it's still my stream that I'm screwing up. Twitch is cringe. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I will probably I'll after this stream, I'll go back into my ad settings, see if I can like fix it. And again, I apologize. There's like 17 seconds left on the ad. It's fine. YouTube is doing the same bullshit. I mean, yeah, but at least YouTube obeys my fucking ad settings. I mean, yeah, YouTube is also cringe, but at the very least, YouTube at least allows you to grow as a channel more than fucking Twitch does. That much I've learned. Why is another ad in progress? What the ad? Another fucking ad pop. Oh my god. So the 3-minute ad ends and then another 30-second ad. What the actual hell is going on? Twitch, I ask so little of you. I don't even necessarily want you to pay me. I just like, are you done, Twitch? Okay, people on the Twitch end of things, can you see this? I saw that 3-minute ad and I was like, there ain't no way I'm going on about how Death of the Author is bullshit with a 3-minute ad up. Again, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with them putting a 3-minute ad when I don't have it set for that. I'm going to go back into my ads and try to adjust it after the stream. So again, I'm sorry. But right. Death of the Author. It's bullshit. It's communist cope and nothing more than that. So, yeah. So here's how communists unironically think writing works. Because of Death of the Author. They believe that, so you have authorial intent, you have three things, 3 layers, if you will. Authorial intent, the text is written, and personal fanfic, like, headcanon, interpretation, that kind of stuff. The stuff the text doesn't explicitly say. To communists, they believe that authorial intent and the text is written don't matter. They're irrelevant. They mean nothing. What they believe is that personal fanfic, their interpretation, is all that matters. So to read out the elaborations I've written on the communist method. Communists believe story exists as property of the audience creatively, not the author. This is a fallacy. In this situation, stories mean nothing except what the reader believes subjectively. There's no under this methodology. Despite what, people who believe Death of the Author is valid might tell you, there are no lessons, no morals, and no point. If interpretation is all that matters, then what the story had to say doesn't matter because the story said nothing. Because you'll just infer what the story said as opposed to what the story actually said. And lastly, it's a subversive tactic. And this is true. It's strictly because you'll notice the kind of people who say Death of the Author is valid and going back to the whole thing with, saying, those right wing, what do you call it, bros were, interpreting the story wrong. It's like, okay, but under Death of the Author, there is no wrong interpretation. But you'll notice that when leftists bring up right-wing interpretations, suddenly, right-wing interpretations of works they've claimed as left-wing, suddenly, there's no such thing as death of the author. At that point, they're always like, oh no, rightoid, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's a wrong interpretation. Actually, it means, you ever notice that? You ever notice that a little bit? You ever do some nudising and notice that? Yeah. That's something you have to see. That's something you see when this topic is up for, discussion, with the left. Now, here's how it actually works. And that would be the chart on the right. Authorial intent provides creative context. You know what the author was you know what the author meant to say. The text as written is what is actually said. Avoiding all interpretation, but the actual objective words written on paper. That is what the text as written is. The stories, the themes, the lessons, and the morals as said in the text objectively. And then personal fanfic, your interpretations do not matter. That is how it actually works. Like, you can have interpretations. No one is saying you can't. But your interpretations are like goldfish. They can only survive in the goldfish bowl that is your own mind. And they die the moment they're let out into the wild. Like, the moment the moment an interpretation meets a contradicting interpretation by another reader, your interpretation means nothing because you can't get inside someone's head and tell them, oh, but your interpretation's wrong. And this is why pure interpretation, as death of the author says it works, doesn't work. Now to read off the corollaries from this, spiraling directly off authorial intent, the author's intent can fail to be communicated. This is not interpretive, but an objective factor. See Starship Troopers, the movie, to clarify. So basically, what's to be said here is that the author's intent, much like anything involved in much like anything objective, can be mistaken. It can be wrong. The author can try to say A but write B. But this doesn't mean the author's intent doesn't matter, or that the story is being reinterpreted. What it means is the author, as it's put right next below, the author's intent still matters and is a factor. The text going against intent is an artistic failing. An interpretive outcome in this situation is case by case. Like, to bring up Starship Troopers as the example, Rorschach, hipster. Rorschach is an excellent example of this. How he's supposed to be the bad guy according to Michael Moore, but he is in every way the true hero of the story. No one is interpreting Rorschach as the hero. We're merely saying what Michael Moore wrote. He himself said it was never a satire about Nazis. Someone posted a screen cap when he was interviewed about that. Are we talking about if we're talking about Starship Troopers, because I was going to bring up Starship Troopers. The whole point, the point is that it's supposed to be a satire of like militarism and fascism and jingoism. And you see, now here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with the author stating his intent. Now, that was his intent. And you know what? People who say that Starship Troopers isn't about that agree that was his intent. No one disagrees. The problem is the text is written. What the story says. The story says none of that. The Federation isn't fascist. It's like, it is everything that fascism isn't. It is an ideal capitalist utopia in which, the separations of race and gender are forgotten. They're in the past. Like racism and sexism are effectively dead. It is perfectly egalitarian. you don't get the right to vote if you don't join the military. In the to mention, in the book, it is only the right to vote you can't get. In the movie, they mention that, a license to have children is easier to get if you're, former military, but it can still get it. So that's an important thing to remember when talking about the movie. And again, humanity had encountered the bugs, when, humanity knew about the bugs. They quarantined off the bug planets. They said, don't fucking go there. This is the bug territory. It belongs to them, That's like the opposite of jingoism. In fact, it was Mormons who violated the Federation's order and, settled there without, against the law and were killed for it. So again, people settling there were breaking the law doing so. So again, this is not jingoistic. And then, of course, it's militaristic. Well, let's be real here. To leftists, the very idea of militarism is just having a military. You know what I mean? It is just having a military and not like, pushing the military as like the only thing that matters. It was Protestants who started the war. A common Protestant L. But anyway, yeah, it's like all these factors about the text, and again, none of this is interpretive. Oh, then remember, of course, going further into jingoism, the bugs attack humanity unprovoked. They launch an unprovoked attack on Earth, destroy Buenos Aires, and that's when humanity goes to war. And I could just hear the angry typewriters on Twitter. No, it is not canon that the bugs, that the meteor was a false flag. That was never in the movie. That was never said in the movie. It was, in fact, it was directly confirmed by the author that it was not a false flag. Now again, the immediate comeback. But Bohemond, you said interviews don't matter because they're not canon. And you know what? Yes, they don't. But it's also not in the movie to begin with. You're trying to interpret it as a false flag, but it's not a false flag because the movie does not say it was a false flag. So again, it's not a false flag. The bugs attacked entirely of their own volition. Also, Heinlein was in the military. Yeah, Heinlein was fucking based. He was also entirely right about the civilian franchise. But that's an entirely different thing. But right. So this is like the basic matter here, and this is like what we're talking about with American Psycho. The movie. They clearly wanted to say one thing that, this is a criticism of masculinity. And, don't you chuds realize, you dirty Wall Street bros, you filthy right-wing Christo-fascist Wall Street bros, don't you realize it's making fun of you? Okay, well, here's the problem. It's not. You didn't say that. You didn't say that with the text. The text doesn't say that. All it shows is an awkward man suffering from psychosis, like some kind of psychosis. Like, how is that a criticism of masculinity? Like, there's dudes who go through that every day, but then there's also lots of perfectly masculine dudes who don't. How are they being criticized? If anything, if you're saying this is supposed to be a criticism, you're saying it's a criticism of mentally unwell men. Like, that's a bad look, ain't it? But again, that's not what you wrote in the, that's not what you wrote in your text. That's what you intended, but it's not what you wrote. What you wrote is what matters. What you're saying with your intent is that, oh, this is what I meant, But you see, your intent is an objective factor of the writing, just like the text. You can fail at intent as easily as you can fail at the text. Authors like this failed at their intent, and that is something that needs to be discussed. And unfortunately, you know, commies like to say, just like to bring up Death of the Author as like a gotcha against trying to argue against, you know, their precious postmodern satirisms of normality and, you know, basic fundamental societal concepts that are supposedly right-wing and fascist and all this stuff because they're all a bunch of weirdos and communists. You see, Death of the Author is just petty appropriation. The word of the creator is the final word regarding the creation. You know, they're contradictory statements. It's the author's problem as an amateur. Oh, yeah, exactly. And it's really what it boils down to. Like, Death of the Author exists to, you know, appropriate other people's story. It is basically to be a writer yourself, but parasitically off somebody else's work. Like, that's what it means. People who believe in Death of the Author are parasites. The Death of the Author, Death of the Author when they get literally gets their arguments killed by a flying rock. I mean, listen, it's like the people who say, you know, fiction affects reality when you hit them in the head with a fictional brick. The brick is fictional, and therefore they're okay. Because fiction doesn't affect reality. But anyway, yeah, so naturally, you know, people took to, you know, people, you know, are, you know, as much as Variety is botting likes on the post, you know, people took to Twitter to comment on the thread. And you see some really good ones here, like Carlos who notices things. No, I think we understand just fine. Let's read this. I've said this before, but the reason it works is because the movie. Okay, this is talking about that. I think this is that Russian Treasure Island movie. You're not sober, man. Listen, listen, man. I wish I could drink for these streams, but I'm a straight edge. But yeah, let's see. Okay, but Carlos's post. This is a 4chan. This is a 4chan screenshot. Rip 4chan, by the way. A 4chan screenshot. They're talking about Dr. Livesey, I think it was, from the Russian Treasure Island movie. I've said it before, but the reason it works is because the movie is essentially a bunch of high school girl drama acted out by high-status men in their 20s. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, this is about American Psycho. He's just using the screenshot, okay. I've said it before, but the reason it works is because this movie is essentially a bunch of high school girl drama, acted out by high-status men in their 20s and 30s. The superficiality, the focus on attention, and looks above all else. The melodrama about something as stupid and significant as a business card. The men in American Psycho are hilarious because they act like vapid women. Having a woman director for this movie was a brilliant choice. As an aside, it's why the gender swap version doesn't work. It's just women acting like bitchy women. You know, that's actually true. It really is indicative of a movie directed by a woman and written by a gay man that they genuinely don't understand how masculinity works as a fundamental concept. Like, because like, you know, women, that's a given. But a lot of gay dudes, and this is a lot of gay dudes, and this is kind of unfortunate to say, but this is unfortunately true, basically throw all their masculinity out the window, like, because they feel like, because it's almost like a thing in the gay, in the male gay community, where you're expected to discard, you're almost like required to be considered gay in the community, to discard your masculinity as a concept, and embrace being like inherently feminine and submissive, especially to women. And it's like, it's actually kind of disgusting. Like, it's genuinely disgusting, I think, what the LGBT community forces on gay men and bisexual, you know, gay men and lesbians and bisexual men and women, and, you know, even transgender people. Like, the LGBT community, and I know this from my own experience in my younger years, is incredibly toxic. It is incredibly toxic. So no, I'm not surprised at all that a gay man, when writing a criticism of men, just wrote a bunch of bitchy women in their 20s and 30s and gave them penises. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all, honestly. Not just a woman, a lesbian woman. Okay, you know what? I genuinely didn't know that about the director of American Psycho, but now that I know that, like, that makes so much sense. Like, an almost uncomfortable amount of sense, now that I really think about it. But yeah, like, that's the problem with getting people who don't fundamentally understand something to write something, because they don't fundamentally understand it. Therefore, they can't satirize it. You have to understand what you're satirizing, or you can't make satire. You know, that's why Paul Verhoeven fucked up Starship Troopers. He doesn't understand fascism. He doesn't understand militarism. He doesn't understand jingoism. So he can't satirize fascism, militarism, or jingoism. All he did was make the biggest endorsement for the Federation humanly possible. Wrote herself into the movie as one of the women he kills. Okay, you know what? Okay, EA, I'm gonna go out there and I'm just gonna say that sounds more like someone's fetish. That sounds like someone's fetish. And having unfortunately in my life read enough yaoi to understand, it makes a kind of creepy amount of sense, even if the author is a lesbian, or even if the director is a lesbian. And if gay men act too feminine, they're gonna try to... Yeah, Heliosphere. Yeah, they will. Look, the whole femboy thing has become a stereotype of the modern gay man. Honestly, Gotchi, the femboy thing is hilarious to me because there's a large unspoken contingent of femboys who are unironically like right-wing, pro-gun, pro-Trump, etc., etc. And that's hilarious. And that is strictly because the LGBT community has preyed upon them so much that they've pushed them away from the left almost completely. Like, and that is actually hilarious because believe me, I've had enough of them talk to me and say, man, it's actually kind of sickening how the LGBT community tries to prey on us. Like, honestly, from like, if we're talking the femboys and the LGBT equation real quick, most of them just want to exist and look cute, and that's really it. And then it's funny how it's not funny. It's actually disgusting how the LGBT community tries to prey on them. Like, it's actually gross. Like, it's actually fucking gross. And it brings up some criticisms of the community that I have had in the past and were a large portion of why I left it. Namely allowing weirdos in the name of tolerance, and then refusing to police the weirdos until finally the lunatics are running the asylum. Like, I had that argument with other gay people all the way back when Obama was still president, and it was a large part of why I quit. They unironically objectify them. Yeah, exactly. Like, listen, I've seen some guys joke on my Discord server that, I'm assembling a femboy harem just because, like, there's a couple on my Discord. It's just like, it's like, bro, it's like, they're just people. It's like, just talk to them. They're just people. Stop trying to stop trying to be like the LGBT community and fucking groom them. Or if you're some kind of weirdo on the internet, fuck them. It's like, yeah. Act like a fucking human being, like, for fuck's sake. Quit thinking with your dick. It doesn't matter which side of the equation you're on. That's good advice in life. Quit thinking with your dick, regardless of situation. So what's this about canons? Oh, we're in a wider discussion. It's breaking off on tangents about canon. We're currently talking about how the left doesn't know how to satirize and how Death of the Author is bullshit. But yeah, moving on from this, we got my homie Ralinor, the Ancient of Rights, just saying the short, sweet, and to the point version. Hello, yes, they're butthurt by the memes. I mean, hey, look, let's be real here. American Psycho is memeable as hell. There's a reason it all began with, 4chan saying, hey, check out these dubs, Like, there's a reason it all began with that. Like, that was, like, honestly, the memeing of American Psycho was really the really the wake up for a lot of dudes to realize, like, yeah, no, this is, maybe they were trying to satirize people, but they fucking failed at it. But this goes back to my point where saying that if an author fails at their intent when writing the text, you can end up in situations where it is actually open to interpretation. Like, Starship Troopers isn't one of those. But American Psycho actually kind of is, because it relies so much on the idea that it's satire to try and get its point across, but the satire fails so utterly that really it just becomes a purely interpretive work, like a purely interpretive piece of art. And that's why the memes stick so well. You know, that's why the memes are so enduring for this movie. Because it's just, because there's no real message to the movie, because the intended message was utterly lost by the failure of the writer. So people can just take from it what they want. There's really no the narrative framework of the film has been completely, undermined by its own writing. Quit thinking you were dingling, Bo. My whole mentality is surely focused plastic. I no longer care about petty relationship drama. I want to paint my mechas and minis. Hey, you know what, man? I get that. Satire requires clarity of purpose and understanding of what is being satirized. They fail on both accounts almost universally. Well, I mean, yeah, that was going back to what we were talking about with the fact that, it's a satire of masculinity written by a gay dude who gave up his masculinity, and written by directed by a lesbian woman who has never had any desire to interact with masculinity in the first place. They didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, so of course they're going to make a satire that falls in its face. Remember Patrick Bateman walking on sunshine? I'll always remember Patrick Bateman walking up to the auction house in Limsa Lominsa, listening to The Edge from Final Fantasy XIV. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite American Psycho edits. But right, yeah. So let's check another one. All right, here we have Lavender has the following to say. Lots of guys are raised to roll with punches and find enjoyment in things. It's not shocking. They find things to like and stuff made to mock. They didn't miss it. They just don't care because of constant browbeating, especially from Hollywood. Eventually becomes white noise. So many movies are made to be essays. Nobody cares. Masculinity grr, signed Hollywood types, pretending not to notice evil around them. Most people don't take movies seriously. They take what they want and discard the struggle sessions because film to most is transient enjoyment. You can't make a black comedy with goofy writing about absurd performances and then be upset people laugh and enjoy the character and aren't having seriously deep reflections on masculinity for themselves. The movie doesn't take itself seriously enough to be a lecture on reality. We want average viewers to reflect on their own masculinity, so we make the character a goofy, confident, rich, buff man who acts like Lore from The Next Generation, kills and eats women, but also maybe he doesn't, but maybe he does. What, how are you not relating to, how is this not relating to your day-to-day existence? That is some legit brilliant analysis from her, and it's very true. The more you try to make fun, because remember, the whole point is, the whole point we brought up earlier is them trying to make fun of, fundamental truths, and how making fun of those fundamental truths and concepts is never going to stick with the average person, because you're asking people to throw away what is normal for the abnormal. And that's essentially what Lavender's getting to here. You can't convince people to analyze such a self-analyze and self-critique such a normal thing as masculinity by trying to absurdify masculinity in such a way as to be so patently ridiculous that it becomes disconnected from reality itself. Like, satire, even at its most ridiculous, has to be grounded in reality. If it's not grounded in reality, you satirize nothing. This is also why Warhammer, by the way, going back to 40K, because you knew I was going to bring this up eventually. This is why Warhammer 40K can never be satire no matter how hard you try, because it is just so disconnected from our reality, in a morality that is so, a morality situation that is so beyond what we could possibly encounter in real life, then you can never apply it to reality in any way. My favorite edit was the one where they had random candy bars instead of business cards. Now, listen, I like the one where they're comparing waifus. That's listen, that's just your average day on anime Twitter is Patrick Bateman and his, rich businessman buddies comparing waifus. Like, I think the specific one is, like, the one I specifically remember, I think, was the girls from Evangelion. Like, that's the one I remember. Like, I think it was, like, Patrick Bateman liked Asuka. And, the guy with the best card, like Masato. It just, like, I said it before. It's still worth repeating. It is so unbelievably meme-worthy, the whole thing. And those memes will always mean more in every objective sense than anything the writer and the director were trying to get across in that movie. The best edit is the one with Sonic OCs. Listen, I need to see that one. Okay, but okay. I think I might have missed a few messages a little ways up. The only thing most people talk about from the movie is the rich people. Is that rich people can easily get away with this shit, even if he admits it to himself. Well, that's true. But again, hipster, it's kind of undermined by the fact that it's kind of portrayed that he's just going through psychotic episodes, and it's not really happening. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of that's kind of what the story is saying about the dude, about Patrick Bateman, that it's probably not real and he's just seeing shit, or he's having incredibly potent, schizoaffective episodes. And even though he's imagining all this shit, it's not actually happening. Like, but again, that doesn't criticize masculinity. That's more an analysis of psychosis. Like, so if you're trying to stick to the fact that it's supposed to be a criticism, so what you're saying is that we should criticize people with mental illness, like severe mental illness, who are going untreated because they're unaware, and consider them somehow lesser? Because that's the point of satire, right? You're supposed to criticize things to portray them in a negative light. So you're saying men with mental illness are a negative thing? They're a bad thing? You're making fun of them? Is that what you're trying to say here? You know what I mean? Tagged it with the Sonic OC edits on the chords. Hey, I'll check that out when we're done going over responses to this. But okay, let's see what else. Okay, but going into the wider discussion of failed leftist satire. We got Manlet King here. Absolutely based as fuck, dude. Go give him a follow, by the way. Manlet King here. Liberals making fun of conservative starter pack. And we've got, let's see, American Psycho, Starship Troopers, Watchmen, and Dune. And, it really is funny, like, there's so much back and forth as to whether, because Dune, we're going to talk about Dune for a minute. There's so much back and forth as to whether, like, Frank Herbert meant Dune to be a satire. Because Frank Herbert himself has, like, said that, like, Paul Atreides is supposed to represent JFK. Like, actually, hold on, it's in the actual thread. Hold on. Here we go. This is what Frank Herbert had to say on it. I wrote the Dune series because this idea of charismatic leaders often ought to come with a warning label on their forehead, may be dangerous to your health. One of the most dangerous presidents we had in this century was John Kennedy, because people said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Charismatic Leader, what do we do next?" And we wound up in Vietnam. And I think probably the most valuable president of this century was Richard Nixon, because he taught us to distrust government, and he did it by example. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. And I actually said this in the thread in response to this guy. Hold on. Frank Herbert was a literary genius, but shit at understanding politics. And that is, like, genuinely what that boils down to. Frank Herbert, in and of himself, is, he is the guy, I forget her name, he's the woman who directed, American Psycho. He is Paul Verhoeven. He is Michael Moore, because he failed at the intent of what he was writing. Dune is not a satire. Dune is not a criticism of powerful leaders. It is, in every objective sense, a story of a man betrayed by his leaders, sold out to his enemies by those leaders, finds a new home among found family, and chooses to rise up to save them from those same leaders and betrayers who are oppressing them. Like, that is the core of what the original Dune by Frank Herbert is about. And it's very clear that Herbert himself was ass-pained about the fact that, he fucked up his intent, because that's the entire reason Children of Dune exists. Because the whole point is that, that's supposed to show the aftermath of Paul's victory, where, the jihad happened, and, like, billions of people died. But then it all circles back around because he brings in the Golden Path and the fact that Paul had to stick to the Golden Path to save humanity. And once again, it becomes, oh, hey, Paul had to make really dark decisions that would result in the deaths of billions, but he saved humanity from the prescience trap, with his Golden Path. And that is, like, again, Herbert fails at what he's trying to say. So, again, it doesn't matter what Herbert wrote or intended because he fucked up with the text. Okay, I had to get a sip of the Wawa there. That's just my lunchroom interaction at work. Just dudes in suits and lab coats chatting about anime girls. Okay, but does one have a psychotic episode because you've got a better waifu than him? I said, you sent the Sonic OC meme in Discord. All right, yeah, like I said, I'll check that out when I'm done with all this. He was an amazing anthropologist and tripping 90% of the time, but so was every creative in the 70s. I mean, yeah, it's like, listen, there's a reason we call Arrakis a planet made out of cocaine. I'm pretty certain Herbert was snorting that shit when he was writing Dune. He needed a bit of that he needed a bit of that, Colombian nose powder if he was gonna write something like Dune and its sequels, because holy fuck, shit gets esoteric, man. Watchmen is Alan Moore. Wait, what the fuck did Megaman? What the fuck did I say? Did I say Michael Moore? Did I say Michael Moore? I said Michael Moore, didn't I? God damn it. Sorry, I meant Alan Moore. I get my pretentious communist writers mixed up sometimes, okay? So forgive me that one. Alan Moore. Yeah, no, Alan Moore didn't know what the fuck he was writing with Watchmen. Like full fucking stop. He didn't know what he was writing because Rorschach is the fucking hero of Watchmen. Like, he really is. Like for those who don't know this quote, never compromise even in the face of Armageddon. He's saying that because Ozymandias just killed millions of New Yorkers in order to prop up a lie to get the Soviet Union and the United States to work together against a fake alien invasion to prevent World War III. And full disclosure, yeah, no, Rorschach's right. Why should the death of millions to prop up a lie is a moral wrong? And even in the situation at hand, it was not justifiable for what it was trying to prevent. Because, I mean, real talk, if they reported Ozymandias, then the world would unite against Ozymandias and try to stop him. The world's going to unite one way or another against a new enemy. And that's going to cool things down and prevent World War III. So, trying to say Rorschach was wrong for wanting to stop Ozymandias' plan is, again, the text going against the intent of the author. So it doesn't matter what, Moore intended, the text says otherwise. No one is interpreting... no one is doing an interpretation. Everyone is just saying, this is what you wrote, and you should own up to it. Hey, see that? How you doing? So like Caltech, the Caltech guys, they just need to invent new shit. Yeah, exactly. Snort more cocaine and invent a invent a gun that fires like, you know, invent a fucking, it's a 5.7, but it fires elephant gun rounds. Yes, I said Michael Moore by accident. Okay, yeah, again, I meant Alan Moore. I apologize for that. It's okay, both Moores are insufferable. Remember the guy unironically wanted to tell us millions must die chud argument? Yeah. Like most liberal writers, Moore thought he was smarter and understood humans better than he really did. Well, I mean, liberal writers or lefty writers, they can't understand humans because they can't even understand themselves. It's like the whole thing with, like, you know, it's like the whole thing with leftist memes being walls of text because they need to carefully word their memes under like 76 layers of postmodernist irony, or they can't get their point across. Meanwhile, a normal person can just like say, you know, didn't read lol and completely destroy it. Because I mean, hey. But yeah, hold on. Right. So that was Manlet Thorne's take, and like I said, Manlet Thorne's a cool dude. I recommend following him. But then he also had this to add, because he's got, you know, Judge Dredd and V for Vendetta. Reminder: these were supposed to be air quotes satire and air quotes cautionary tales about air quotes conservatives from the Brits. Yet Dredd is 100% vindicated in his actions and constantly right. V for Vendetta could not have missed the mark more. Laughably terrible predictions. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Listen, the whole plot of V for Vendetta is that a political extremist party used a viral outbreak in order to stage attempt to stage a takeover of civilized society. What does that sound like, everyone? What does that sound like? I'm just saying, I'm noticing things here. Because, look, I'm going to be completely honest. It doesn't matter how much, you know, V for Vendetta tries to say it was a conservative government that unleashed that, you know, caused all this, when in reality, it was the left that actually committed and did it. Yeah, exactly. The unspecified virus of unknown origins that, you know, that appeared in 2020. Like, yeah. Yeah. And then just listen. Judge Dredd falls into the same trap that, you know, attempting to say, you know, 40K is satire falls into. 40K isn't satire. Like don't get me wrong. It's not. It's not satire. But there is that stupid argument saying it is, but Judge Dredd was intended to be satire, but falls into the same problem 40K does, where the setting is so deliberate and earnest in its delivery of the events within it that it justifies and, you know, it moralizes and moralizes and justifies Dredd's actions as correct. Like, Judge Dredd is correct in what he does, because the world he's in has gone to shit that much that his level of violent law enforcement is necessary and healthy. Just like how in 40K, the galaxy went such to shit that the Imperium is entirely justified. And 40K's creator, and this is how you know it's not satire, 40K's creator, Rick Priestley, said that much verbatim. He agreed with the Imperium, saying it was right. V for Vendetta's cultural legacy is a bunch of 9 to 15-year-olds running around in Guy Fawkes masks. I mean, look. The story of V for Vendetta it's a great story. It's an awful satire, and, you know, history shows the writer completely missed the mark, saying the conservatives did it because you know, with like all the things that happened in 2020, between 2020 and 2023, 2024, that was the left that did it. So we'll say that one was a bit prophetic, but it got the parties wrong. Let's see, and next up is Middle-earth Mixer with another good example. Tries to make fun of anti-government conservatives, one of the most beloved characters in TV history. Like, seriously. Name somebody on the right who doesn't like this guy, who doesn't like this character. Because, again, he was supposed to be satirical, but all they did was write him as a normal dude with normal opinions. You can't satirize normality. You can't make the things that are normal ridiculous. Like, we're not talking like crazy ideas. We're talking basic fundamental truths. Like, the government does not have a right to tell you as a person how to live in polite society outside the most basic laws in order to protect polite society. Like, that's not abnormal. That's not extremist. That's just a fundamental truth of existence. You can't satirize this. You can't make this character somebody who you think is absurd because he's right in everything he says. Classic Yankee Doodleism. Yeah, exactly. It's funny because the left now claims V's symbol quite often. I mean, just look at Anonymous. Just look at the anonymous Twitter account and fucking 4chan. Like, after the whole collapse of 4chan, we find out they're all fucking feds. Like, they're all feds. They're all feds, and like the majority of posters all come from a certain country that will not be mentioned in chat. But they all come from a certain country, the majority of posters. And Anonymous is unironically, like, funded. But I think we found out that the Anonymous Twitter account is funded by another country. Like, they're not American. But fund anti-American sentiments. All right, let's see. What else? All right, yeah, I had to chime in. Because, me being, like, me being an insufferable 40k nerd, had to chime in with my version of this little thing. Liberal Warhammer authors trying to make the Imperium look bad starter pack. They failed and made the Imperium look based. And we have a Master of Mankind, The Last Church, Throne World, unironically my least favorite 40k book, and The Emperor's Gift. These four books are unironically, they're all attempts by the author to make the Imperium look bad and instead make them look like, actually kind of make them look fucking awesome. Like, let's go over these one at a time, all right? Like in Master of Mankind, it's supposed to portray the Emperor as like a bad father and a bad father who doesn't love his sons. Like the whole idea that the Emperor doesn't actually love the Primarchs started here. It started with this novel because ADB, in his endless attempts to try to circumvent Warhammer canon, wrote it in that the Emperor says he sees the Primarchs as just tools and sees Angron as a disposable, damaged, but otherwise still useful tool. And it was so awful that other authors had to put in the fact that the Emperor literally puts up a glamour that makes people interpret him. And that, Archmagos Archon Land, who was talking to the Emperor when he said these things, was merely seeing the Emperor as a cold and calculating scientist, and that's why he interpreted the Emperor's words as seeing his sons as disposable tools. So, yeah, and the other thing being the Emperor saying that he is miserly with the lives of the Custodes, and he doesn't want to sacrifice them needlessly, and I don't really see how that's hating his sons or not loving his sons, because he does love his sons. That's the whole impetus behind the fact he wouldn't kill any of them. Why he wanted Magnus alive. Why he couldn't kill Horus. Like, it is like why he tried to find them in the first place. I mean, in Valdor Birth of the Imperium, I think it's Malkador says straight up, the Emperor has developed paternal feelings for the Primarchs, and that he considered this unexpected. That the Emperor loves his sons. He's a harsh man with them, but he has to be, because Master of Mankind fucks up its own message, because in the attempt to show the Emperor as an asshole who doesn't care about people, instead has him having a fucking, anime fight with Drachnian, trying to keep Drachnian from breaching into the throne room through the hole in the webway. And it shows that the Emperor has to be harsh. He has to be cruel, because he's fighting cosmic powers, the likes of which mankind can't comprehend. Like, that's the whole point. Like, that's really the true message of Master of Mankind, as the text is written. That the Emperor is fighting things that even the Primarchs and the Custodes can't comprehend. Unironically, the Custodes are watching the. Okay, I made that meme the other day of Hold on. I made that meme the other day of One moment. It was yesterday. I made this meme. I'm gonna have to mute it because I have to mute it because it's licensed. But hold on, let me find the original. There we go. I had to mute this meme because licensed music, but it's funny as fuck because this is unironically true. When the Emperor and Drachnian fought, they were moving so unbelievably fast that the Custodes could not track them. The Custodes could not see them. They could only see the brief moments when the two stopped to trade blows. It was unironically a fucking anime fight, no matter how you tried to swing it. And that's the lesson. That is the moment that tells you what Master Mankind is about, regardless of what ADB tried to write. That the Emperor's fighting force is so fucking powerful that he can at best try to hold his ground. That these are cosmic forces out to destroy mankind with incomprehensible amounts of power. So yeah, ADB Aaron Dembski-Bowden failed with his intent on this novel. The Last Church. The Last Church is meant to show that okay, this one's kind of the odd book out, because it's supposed to be about how the Emperor was absolutely right to stamp out religion, and that he was right to stamp out religion. He was right to destroy the Last Church, and it was a good thing that the priest of the Last Church died. That's what Graham McNeil said it was about. Oh no, Exorn, I've read Dune. That's not a spoiler. But yeah, those three things are what Graham McNeil said the Last Church is about. The Emperor is right, religion is evil, it was right to stamp it out, it's a good thing the priest died, the priest was wrong. Except, the book also says directly that the death of religion is ultimately what sets mankind on the path to being betrayed by chaos, because the power of faith is what holds chaos back. That's how the story ends. I think it's the bell that will ring at the ending of the world finally tones as the Last Church burns. It's basically saying the Imperium's future worship of the Emperor as a god is justified in what is needed to protect mankind from the darkness. All I took from the Last Church is that, as per usual, the priests were great. Yeah, no, the priest is right, and every argument he makes is correct. It's just that, you can only be as smart, characters can only be as smart as the writer. And Graham McNeil is an insufferable Reddit atheist. So naturally, he wrote the most insufferable Reddit atheist counter-arguments and then said, oh, the Emperor was right. So yeah, Graham McNeil failed at his intent with The Last Church. Throne World is a little more simple. Like, Throne World is a little more simple in this regard because it is not a complex book. This is the one where infamously, you know, like, two basic bitch Harlequin kill like 25 Adeptus Custodes because Graham McNeil never read any of the compiled lore by Dan Abnett on how Custodes function. But yeah. So basically, you know, that happens and it's supposed to show, oh, the Imperium is utterly incompetent. But it's like, hey, listen, you cannot say the Imperium is utterly incompetent and then have the primary like action of the book be around the Space Marines rocking up to stop an Orcish Death Star from taking over Terra. Like, you cannot have the Imperium be awesome and win the battle when the battle is portrayed that they fight, and then say, oh, actually, no, it's supposed to make the Imperium look bad. It's like, no, that's not how that works. You cannot do that. You get one or the other, Guy Haley. You cannot have both. Also, fuck you for once again going out of your way to portray the Black Templars as idiots, especially when the first three books of the Beast Arises series portrayed them as competent. Like I said, Guy Haley, as a Black Templar fan, fuck you. You suck at it. You suck at writing Black Templars. Never write them again. The Watchmen movie is the lack of the interdimensional starfish. Hey, listen, I'll make a hot take. Turning the world against Dr. Manhattan is unironically a better writing move than the interdimensional starfish. Or squid, or whatever the fuck it was. I actually liked the fact they changed that in the movie. I realize that's my unfiltered dog shit opinion, but hey, I'm sticking to it. But anyway, right now, The Emperor's Gift. Once again, another certified Aaron Dembski-Bowden joint. The Emperor's Gift is supposed to show how, oh, the Inquisition is evil, and the Imperium is evil, and they're unnecessarily evil, and everything they do is all the evil they do is arbitrary and meaningless. It's like the problem is that the opening conflict of the book is the for those who don't know, this is the story that covers the First War for Armageddon and the Months of Shame, which was the shooting war between the Inquisition, you know, backed up by the Grey Knights, and the Space Wolves over the fate of Armageddon citizens after the First War for Armageddon, where, I will clarify this, they witnessed not only a massive Khornate demonic incursion, but fucking Angron was there. So, the point, okay, so the first, like, half of the book is the First War for Armageddon. The second half of the book is the Months of Shame. The problem with trying to portray the Inquisition is in the wrong is the fact that the Inquisition is entirely justified wiping out the population of Armageddon and repopulating it, because as it is portrayed in the lore objectively, chaos is a mimetic info hazard, and the more of chaos you're exposed to, the more you have a chance to cause another incursion. Fucking Angron showing up is the height of exposure to chaos. And frankly, hold on. I'm snoozing that fucking ad. I'm in the middle of talking about how Aaron Dembski-Bowden doesn't know how to write. But anyway, you cannot on the one hand portray a mimetic info hazard that can physically come into the universe and destroy it, and how it needs to be stopped, and then say, oh, snuffing out this info hazard from spreading, it makes you evil. It's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That makes you righteous. That is a good thing. That is a good thing to do. And the Space Wolves trying to prevent you from snuffing out that mimetic info hazard, make them the villains. Because here's the problem. The problem with a lot of people who want to interpret Warhammer 40K's canon is that they don't want to actually put themselves in the moral situation the Imperium has to put up with. They try to put themselves in the modern moral understanding and situation, and then talk about the speculative morality that the Imperium is forced in. And that's not how it works. You have to put yourself in the speculative moral situation of the Imperium, where we could let these people go, but at the same time, more worlds might fall to demonic corruption and incursions, and then make the situation worse, and we can't have that. That's the mindset you got to put yourself in when interpreting, 40K lore, and when discussing, the morality of the Imperium. Like, I mean, is it horrible what they have to do? Absolutely, it's fucking horrible. But this is the situation they're in. We don't have to deal with actual demonic incursions that can spread by a single person witnessing a demon, by witnessing a demon. But the Imperium does. So they have to deal with that in the only way they can. So no, trying to say the Imperium and the Inquisition and the Grey Knights were the bad guys in this situation doesn't work. If anything, the bad guys in the situation are the Space Wolves in their misguided attempt to hold true to honor. And it's actually kind of funny because it comes back to bite the Space Wolves in the ass when Magnus shows up at Fenris, in Warzone Fenris, because then the Space Wolves realize, oh shit, we have to purge most of Fenris's population now, or we're in even deeper shit. So yeah, it's almost like the Inquisition was right and justified, dark as their actions had to be. I mean, yeah, and of course, the Inquisitor leading the whole thing, who ends up having to exterminatus more worlds due to both the potential for and the actual outbreaks of demonic incursions due to Armageddon citizens escaping, literally goes insane from what he has to do. Like the weight of it upon his soul drives him insane. So it's not like, it's not like he was like, felt guiltless in the whole thing. But again, Aaron Dembski-Bowden can't fucking write. It's really that simple. So yeah, that's that. And I had one more here. Oh yeah, this one. I was making fun of you. Yeah, I know, but you accidentally made me look cool instead because you're an idiot. That really is what the whole thing boils down to when it comes to authors fucking up their intent. It's like, again, I was making fun of you as the intent, but you look cool as hell and are totally justified in all your actions, is what they write. And those can't be reconciled. If the author fucks that up, they need to take the L and realize, oh, I fucked up. I fucked up. I made you look cool. I didn't do well enough. That's, the author has to take that L. That's simply what it boils down to. Because we're not interpreting their work in a way counter to their intent. We're just saying what they wrote. That's not death of the author. So no, you can't use death of the author to argue that. Did they try to explain in a good way to the wolves to... oh yeah, no, they explained it to the Space Wolves, just the Space Wolves didn't care. Like, they straight up didn't care. They didn't stop and think logically about the situation at hand. They just stopped and made like, oh, I made a fucking a vow. That vow matters more than common sense. Like, they're literally putting honor before common sense, which honor is nice, but you can't do that. In a potentially apocalyptic situation, like the aftermath of the First War for Armageddon, you just can't let honor be a factor. You have to do the cruel but, practical thing if you want to prevent more destruction. Like, it sucks. It really sucks. But that's what you got to do. That's how the setting of Warhammer works. Oh boy, I have been... Damn, I didn't know I had 2 hours of yap in me. I am... it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. I used to strictly do gaming streams because I didn't really think I had it in me to yap. Like, just talk about things for hours on end to my viewers. And here I am on 2 hours of 2 hours of stream, and I have been like, I've been doing nothing but the yap. But anyway, some of y'all sent me stuff over Discord, so I'm going to. You sent me those meme edits. I'm gonna go take a look at them real quick. All right. Okay. American Psycho: The Hedgehog Edition. All right, hold up. All right. Let's this one I have not seen. You know what? Gotchi, I'm just gonna say I hope this ain't cursed because just in case it's things I can't display on on stream. But you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's go.
Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Oh, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this. That is really nice. Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think?
Nice.
Jesus. That is really super. How did a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
But wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. Raised lettering. Pale nimbus. White.
Impressive. Very nice.
Oh man, this is great.
Let's see Paul Allen's card.
I can't wait to see what Paul Allen has. This is gonna be funny.
Something wrong? Patrick?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Part of me saw it coming. I still wasn't ready. I still wasn't fucking ready. No, EA, that's not Sonichu, that's Sanic. That's Sanic Hedgehog. oh man, I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that. Oh my god. Man, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm gonna close all these. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's see. Okay. What am I doing? As it currently stands, I never really had an idea of what I was gonna play after the Yap session ended. You know what? Fuck it. For now, I will go back to here. We'll just keep chatting with chat. Might as well. I haven't really thought of anything yet. I will have to think of something. Something to play. I do not know what. I'm going to go through my Warframe. I don't play Warframe. I'm not a big fan of Warframe. To me, it always struck me as, like the, I don't know. I've fallen out of love with Destiny. I'm not going to get into a Destiny like, Warframe jumped the shark when they canonized Warframe's getting pregnant. Well, I mean, okay, actually, Gotchi, I'm just gonna say this. That doesn't surprise me at all because, like, honestly, Warframe has just been the fetish fuel of the creators ever since it came out. And, I mean, you know what? They're fucking honest about it, so I don't hold it against them. Is Fire Warrior the worst 40k game? Honestly, I think so. Bo, you have the same problem as every video game player. You have too much shit to play and then just wonder what to... You know what? I've got an idea. Hold on. I've got an idea. Because I haven't played it on stream in a while. The grind in Warframe scares you. Art design is cool, though. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree to that. I really don't want to... I have enough games going on where I grind the shit out of things that I don't want to grind anymore. I don't have any more that require me to grind, you know? The Warframe can get pregnant thing is as much of a meme as it is true. I mean, that doesn't surprise me either. Okay, I better close this out. Switch over to... Okay, you know what, everyone? I'm going to go AFK really quick. I will be right back, so hold on to your butts.
Out there, yes, clear. The line clear.
In the suspicious citizen, 4423 live, look at the mobile station.
On the intercom. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6300 Blackwell.
Same to Sound Pacific. Out there, yes, clear. The line clear.
In the suspicious citizen, 4423 live, look at the mobile station.
On the intercom. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6300 Blackwell.
Same to Sound Pacific. Out there, yes, clear. The line clear.
In the suspicious citizen, 4423 live, look at the mobile station.
On the intercom. C7?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be clear, and 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. 224, I was going out there. 233 will be clear on the N4 E. Edward, and so we both be a 50. Radio is 6300 Blackwell.
Same to Sound Pacific. Out there, yes, clear. The line clear.
In the suspicious citizen, 4423 live, look at the mobile station.
On the intercom. C7?
Okay, we're back. One moment, everyone. I need to change things up on the stream to match the game we're going to be gaming. Okay, hold on. All right. Properties. I hope this is the game itself and not the launcher. There we go. All right. Okay, YouTube is fine. YouTube is fine. I need to edit Twitch. Shit. Hold on. I don't know which, oh, shit. Okay. Immediate problem. I don't know which Delta Force is, the one I'm supposed to select here. I'm going to assume it's this one. Now I'm going to check, I'm going to check my stream just to make sure I got it right. Okay. get it right? Okay, my Twitch phone app is being incredibly inconclusive. I just look, bro. I just want to know what the fuck I'm playing. Okay, or did I? No, I don't. I don't want to watch. No, I don't want to watch that again. Fuck you. You know, the problem is there's literally 2 games called Delta Force, and I don't know if I selected the right one, because unfortunately, there's no symbols for it on the Restream interface. Okay, I selected the right one. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone.
Knocked and locked.
Yeah, I know. Season pass boost. I didn't even buy the season pass. All I wanted from it was the one
Always
operator.
the bullseye.
Why are you selected? Oh well. Like, why are you selected when I've been trying to play? I've been trying to play fucking these guys. Okay. Great on Twitch's part then, as usual. I mean, look, man. If Twitch worked right, would any of us be here? Like, seriously? But okay. Let's okay. What do we got to do first of all? Play for 120 minutes. Oh. Okay, so I can play as anyone now. All right. No, I'm not playing as Captain China. I'm playing as this dude. King of the Hill, attack King of the Hill. Just came back. What is this? This is a Delta Force. Currently trying to unlock a weapon. I gotta play for 120 minutes to do so. Don't know if I'm gonna. I probably won't play, you know, for 2 hours. I'll have to see.
Got your back.
I am John Soldier Man. I got the feeling I'm jumping into a match in the middle of things that just paired me up with, like, no other people. Just a warning, I suck at FPS games. So, yeah.
The time to strike is now. A tsunami has exposed multiple points of entry to this Havoc stronghold, throwing their forces into disarray. We'll be capitalizing on this opportunity by coming at them with paratroopers, armored vehicles, and infantry. Move out!
Yep.
Capture the objective.
Vehicle airdrop available.
This mode, you need to gain enough strategic resources to win the battle. Keep an eye on the perimeter.
Yeah, I know how to play King of the Hill, dude.
Sector Bravo under control. Sector Echo captured.
Well, that's my typical performance in these guys. Oh, of course, he was behind me the whole time. Okay, I got a squad here. Okay.
Objective Echo 1 is under attack. The enemy has cleared Objective Bravo. Sector Bravo just fell to the enemy. The enemy has taken Objective Bravo. Allied troops engaging at Objective Charlie. The enemy has captured Objective Echo 2. The enemy has taken Sector Echo. Objective Echo 1 has fallen into enemy hands.
Oh, shit.
Finish them all! Clear the area!
Shit.
Allied troops launching an assault on objective Bravo.
Cool, the dude who healed, you know, can heal. Ah, son of a bitch. Damn, he just shot up out of nowhere. Oh, thank God.
The enemy has secured Sector Charlie. The enemy has taken objective Charlie. Allied troops neutralizing objective Delta.
All right, that's it. I'm tired of pussyfooting around. I'm going in.
The enemy has reached 25% completion in their operations. We are currently behind. Objective Bravo cleared. Allied troops launching an assault on objective Delta. Sector Bravo captured.
Triple blaster charges up!
We've neutralized objective Echo 2.
Got one of them.
Smoke barrage ready.
Sector Delta captured. Objective Delta is off.
Ah, shit.
Allied troops
Help.
launching an assault on objective Charlie.
Help, IR bleed.
Sector Echo captured. Objective Delta is under attack.
We're just gonna... Okay.
Objective Bravo lost. Sector Bravo just fell to the enemy. The enemy has taken objective Bravo. Allied troops launching an assault on objective Charlie. Objective Alpha 2 has been cleared by the enemy.
Launch a grenade!
Well, shit.
Allied troops launching an assault on objective Bravo. Objective Delta
Whoa.
is under attack.
Jesus.
We've neutralized objective Charlie.
Let's make it quick! Grenade launched!
Sector Charlie under control. We have taken objective Charlie. The enemy has cleared objective Delta.
Oh, shit.
The enemy has taken objective Echo 1. Allied troops launching an assault on objective Bravo. The enemy has taken over objective Charlie. We've secured Sector Delta. We've neutralized objective Bravo. Objective Charlie has been cleared by the enemy. We are at an advantage. Good job. Sector Charlie just fell to the enemy. Sector Bravo under control. Allied troops launching an assault on objective Charlie.
Clear the area!
Sector Echo just fell to the enemy.
Shit.
The enemy has taken objective Echo 2.
All these years playing Battlefield, and I still suck at these games.
Allied troops launching an assault
Oh well.
on Objective Echo 2.
Get in there. Okay.
Objective Bravo has been cleared by the enemy. 50% to operation completion. Keep it up. Objective Charlie is ours. The enemy has secured Sector Bravo. We've neutralized Objective Bravo. Objective Charlie is under attack. We control more sectors than the enemy. Objective Bravo is ours. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Echo 2.
Cover your ears! Thunder's coming!
Ah, shit. Hello?
Medic! I'm here!
Ah, they got
The
me.
enemy has cleared Objective Charlie. We've neutralized Objective Echo 2. The enemy has secured Sector Charlie. The enemy has taken Objective Charlie. Objective Echo 2.
Shit. Okay, there was more than one. Oh, oh, those are medics. They can get me up.
Under attack.
Might be pinned down, though. He's got me. Okay.
Thanks, soldier!
Ah, son of a bitch.
Launching an assault on Objective Charlie.
Help.
I'm injured! Need
By
help!
the enemy. The enemy is attacking Objective Alpha 2.
My bad!
Be careful next time.
Whoa.
Wait for my intel.
Copy. Vehicle dropped to designated location. The enemy has cleared Objective Alpha 2. Objective Echo 2 is ours.
Triple blaster charges up!
Allied
Got him.
troops launching an
Nice.
assault on Objective Echo 1. Objective Echo 2 is under attack.
Hello, everyone. I'm an experienced 3D artist commission. I'm not interested in the commission. Sorry, dude.
Need help!
I got nothing I need to commission right now.
Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Delta. The enemy has taken Objective Echo 2. High threat enemy unit.
Oh, that guy that was here too. Was he a medic?
Give me a hand!
Oh yeah, now I'm just responding.
Objective Echo 1 is under attack. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Echo 2. We've secured Sector Delta. Objective Echo 1 secured. The enemy is attacking Objective Alpha 1. We've neutralized Objective Echo 2.
Where's Alpha?
The enemy has taken Objective Echo 1.
Not on my watch, bitch.
Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Charlie. Objective Echo 2 secured. Objective Bravo. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Charlie. We're 75% through the objective. Victory is in sight. Copy. Vehicle drop to designated location. We've secured Sector Alpha. Objective Alpha 1 lost. The enemy has taken over Objective Echo 2. The enemy has taken
vehicle's gonna
Objective
drop
Alpha
in.
2. The enemy has secured
Nothing
Sector
goes
Bravo.
Ow! What the?
Objective Echo 2.
Oh, shotgun. Yeah, that explains it. That explains dying in one hit.
Objective Alpha 1 is under attack.
I should really start using the
The
shotguns
enemy
in
has
this game.
secured Sector Echo. The enemy has taken Objective Echo 2. We've neutralized Objective Alpha 2. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Delta. Sector Alpha under control. Objective Alpha 2 is ours. The enemy has secured Sector Delta. Enemy there! The enemy has taken Objective Alpha 1. We've neutralized Objective Charlie.
Yeah, we gotta take Alpha 1.
Objective Alpha 2 is under attack. We've secured Sector Charlie. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Alpha 1.
Nope. Shit! Saw him too late.
Artillery barrage incoming.
Medic! I'm here!
Yep.
Ready for another fight!
Objective Alpha 2 has been cleared by the enemy.
Still one around here somewhere.
Clear the area!
We've neutralized Objective Alpha 1.
Many thanks.
Thank you!
The enemy has secured Sector Bravo. Objective Alpha 1 secured.
Oh, shit.
Objective Charlie.
This is bullshit. You can't just kill me like that.
I'm injured! Need help!
Artillery barrage ready.
Oh, shit, here comes a bunch of enemies. Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to...
Victory is ours.
Fuck. Okay, try again.
Objective Charlie has been cleared by the enemy. Roger that. Artillery barrage incoming. The enemy has secured Sector Charlie. Objective Charlie has fallen into enemy hands.
I need smoke cover, over!
Objective Echo 2 is ours. Objective Echo 2 is under attack. Smoke screen incoming. Objective Alpha 1 has fallen into enemy hands. We've secured Sector Bravo.
Cover your ears! Thunder's
Objective
coming!
Bravo is ours. Objective Echo 2 has been cleared by the enemy. Objective Bravo is under attack. Sector Echo just fell to the enemy. The enemy has taken Objective Alpha 1. Allied troops launching an assault on Objective Echo 2. We have secured more sectors than our enemy. Roger that. Artillery barrage incoming. The enemy has secured Sector Bravo.
Strike out!
The enemy has secured Sector Delta.
Stay clear of the blast!
The enemy has taken... Enemy retreating. Victory is ours. Well done, operator.
Oh, not bad. Guess I give my A7V a spin and War Thunder now. Look. I mean, have fun with that. Okay, willing to bet I was the worst dude on the worst squad. Or not. Oh, God. Air's getting a little chunky. Ah, Jesus. You know what? Hold up. Because I just unlocked something back there. 60-round drum mag. How's that? Okay. Fucks with handling, fucks with stability, fucks with control. There's a shitload of ammunition, though. Yeah, I'll try that. So this would make accuracy and handling better. Yeah, fuck it. We'll try that. Yeah, we'll keep the barrel. We'll keep the barrel we got right now. And yeah, that's good. Actually, wait a minute. Maybe I want to use something I haven't used much. I can't believe you gotta be level 34 to unlock the AKM. You know what? I'll use this.
Got your back.
We have a responsibility to prove to the people of Asara that GTI is influencing them with carefully woven lies. Who caused the destruction of the Skynet satellite? Who destroyed the dam? Push forward and secure the objective now.
Let me in. There we go.
Act swiftly and capture each point one by one.
Whoa! I'm trying, lady, but I'm getting shot at first. Ah, okay, sniper got me.
Thanks, soldier!
advised, our forces have secured objective Delta.
Ah, shit.
Need help!
Okay, okay, this gotta get me out. Well, the sea goes down.
I'm injured! Need help!
Sector Echo is occupied by enemy forces. Objective Echo is now under enemy control.
Strike out!
Our mission is 75% complete. Victory is within our grasp.
Well, shit. So going deep didn't help. Oh, but I'm gonna switch to. Come on, let me in.
We've taken Sector Echo. Allied forces have taken Objective Echo.
Well, fuck. There was like 3 of them. Yeah, no, they're not gonna, they're not gonna be able to get me. Shit. Okay.
Hold on!
Well, fuck.
Medic! Let me get back to the boat!
Fuck! Oh, there's one behind us.
I'm bugging! Need aid!
Anybody?
Casualty here!
Fuck. That was a terrible shot.
Bloody hell!
Outstanding performance. The enemy has been defeated.
I probably didn't get. I came into that one really late. I probably didn't get to do much.
almost killed me!
What? Like, I wasn't the worst on my squad, but yeah, I didn't have much time to do much. One moment. Yeah. Whip him with that. All right. You know what? Actually, hold on. Hold on, everyone. You know what? I'm gonna actually close out the stream a little early. So, yeah, I got some stuff I gotta get done. So, yeah, thank y'all for coming. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be playing Space Marine 2. Maybe modded. I don't know. I'll have to find out when we get that far. But, yeah, I'll catch you then, 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have a good evening, and later.